Hello everybody, thank you for joining me for part 3 of your weekend love reading for the weekend of March 13th to March 15th, 2020. These are going to be for the signs of Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Keep in mind that although these are set for those signs, if a message applies, it applies. I do implore you to have your chart open while we do this, because this can apply to any placement that you have of a particular sign. If you're a cross-watcher, I don't judge you, but keep in mind that although you do not have a placement of a particular sign, you do have it in your chart. So we have all aspects of all signs in our natal charts. If you do need to know how to find your natal chart, you can go to just type in like free natal chart. I like to use AstroTheme and Astro.com are some pretty good ones. You just need your birth time, your birthplace, and your birth date, and it'll give you all of the placements. Some of them will give you even more details of like the aspects. You can see which houses they're in, and provides a lot of insight into the things you may be experiencing and some of the lessons you may be learning. So that said, keep in mind time and energy are fluid. While it is set for this weekend, these messages can apply at any time you watch them. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I do think that is it for any kind of announcements. Yeah, okay. So, hello Sagittarius, I hope you're doing well. Keep in mind that this reading can apply to any aspect of your chart. I do implore you to have your chart open while we do this reading together. If you are a cross-watcher, I do not judge you, but keep in mind that while you may not have a Sagittarian placement, you will have it in one of the houses in your natal chart. That said, I do implore you to have your chart open while we do this. Keep in mind time and energy are fluid. These messages can apply to you, another person, or vice versa, so if they don't fit, do not force them. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But without further ado, we're going to see what Spirit has in store for you for the weekend of March 13th to March 15th, 2020 in love for Sagittarius. So, we have Judgment, the Tree of Life reverse, Ace of Pentacles, and the Sun. So I'm feeling like right now there's a sense of needing to be patient. While we do have the Sun as the overall energy, it is a beautiful card to have. It does represent, new beginnings, fresh starts, abundance, and just anything and everything associated with the Sun blessing our lives with sustenance, I suppose. But I'm kind of drawn here to the Ace of Pentacles with the Sun. It's kind of like this energy of given it's in love, there's like this opportunity to not only develop a deeper sense of independence, but it's like that's kind of why everything's been happening the way it has for you. It's leading you deeper into this space of learning to be okay on your own. Given we do have Judgment in reverse and the Tree of Life reverse. And if you haven't seen any of my explanations on the Tree of Life card, to me this card essentially represents, it's as above so below is the phrase I like to use. It's representative of this card. If you know anything about that, then you would know what this card really represents. But if not, in this context of love, this essentially represents like not going against the flow, right? Because if this is in reverse, and when it's in the upright, it's usually an indication of learning to be patient with your manifestations, understanding that everything takes time to coalesce in the right ways to manifest in your life in a way that's conducive to a blissful experience, quite honestly, or growth, which is arguably less blissful. But given we do have the Judgment in reverse, it doesn't feel like this is happening for really karmic reasons. I feel like if anything, this is happening to really help deepen your own spiritual path, which I think is a huge lesson not only for Sagittarians, but for the collective, given everything that is happening astrologically. We are coming out of Mercury retrograde. We're in the retrograde ending on the 17th, and then Saturn moves into Aquarius after that. Definitely going to be a big change of energy. We just came out of the Virgo full moon, so it's like these energies are kind of the tail end of that. We're in the waning gibbous right now. So let's get some clarification from the Sagittarius. Let's try to move this here. We have the Six of Cups. We have the Hermit. We have the Queen of Wands, which actually came out in the collective reading I did on Thursday. And then we have the Eight of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Okay. I don't know. We have death too. I usually don't always pull the extra bottom decks, but if I'm really drawn to them, I'll pull them. And so death is coming out and seems like something that should be pulled. So we have the Judgment clarified by the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups can represent the soulmate card if it's a love reading. It can also represent somebody coming back from the past. So in the context of the Sun as the overall energy, clarified by the Eight of Cups, it's a sense of kind of allowing you this time to yourself to recognize what it was that made you so dissatisfied in your last relationship, and really taking that into consideration before you move into something new, and not moving into something new for the sake of moving into something new, and allowing this transformation to take place. The death, to me, often indicates internal transformation. It's like the death and the Tower to me represent the internal and the external in terms of just transformational energies and things being shaken up. So this to me is like the microcosm of change and shifting and rebirth, because death doesn't always mean something ending. It can point to a sense of rebirth within yourself and within your own perception of what love could be and should be for you, because everybody deserves a healthy relationship, right? But I think it's important we cultivate that with ourselves to be able to recognize when that comes into our lives. Since we do have the Queen of Wands with the Hermit, that's essentially telling me, I mean, this can represent you as a fire energy, Queen of Wands, so Sagittarius, right? And so this could be you, kind of like learning to stand in your power, embracing your divine feminine aspects. I know a lot of the signs that I've been doing, a lot of the messages that have come out for the signs have been going through this divine feminine healing period. It's like the rebirth of the divine feminine. I feel like sacred feminine energy is coming to power. It's coming to a place of just really stepping out of a lot of the oppressive patriarchal systems that have, systematically kept the feminine energy suppressed. And so I think we're in a time now where that is, a lot of those old ways of thinking and a lot of those old paradigms are dying out. And a lot of that is it's like as if the internal work that the collective is doing is helping that manifest in the external. And so I think, that's why these energies are coming out for you right now, especially since we have the Hermit. It's like taking this time to not only like heal from the past, yes, that's a big thing, but also like taking the lessons and applying everything you've learned to like future partners. Like say like this Ace of Pentacles, since it's clarified by the Queen of Wands, this could represent somebody that may have come forward and they have offered, not necessarily like made a grand offer, but there's this sense of this person maybe wanting to try to build a foundation, right? The Ace of Pentacles. It's new, it's fresh, the overall energy is the Sun with the Eight of Cups. And so it's like, there's this kind of sense of like, celebration is what I'm hearing. Like it feels good, but it's like, don't fight it, don't like flow. No, don't fight the flow, excuse me, don't flow. Please do flow. But don't fight the flow. Given you are a fiery energy, depending on where it is in your chart, fire energy tends to be very just like headstrong, like passionate, like moving forward. It's almost kind of one of those like shoot first, ask questions later, without the violence, obviously, just in the context of that example. And so I understand that like flowing can be different for everybody, and flowing for a fire sign is a lot different than it is for a water sign, right? Fire and water, it's just like polar opposites. But given that this is a scorpionic energy, the death card is a scorpionic energy, this is kind of maybe, these energies are asking you to take a look at how you can flow a bit easier, so that way you're not like self-sabotaging and fighting what the universe is trying to bring into your life. So we're going to get one closing message here for you with the animal messages. So get some advice here. So what do we have for Sagittarius? Oops. We have the Llama. I've not gotten this card yet. It says, let courage lead you to seek support and overcome fear of intimacy. Yeah, so I think this is, the lesson you can learn from the camel, or not the camel, I don't know why I keep thinking this is a camel. I don't know much about llamas, to be honest, so I can't really give too much symbolism. But what I'm picking up from this card in the context of this reading, I'm particularly drawn to the fact that it says overcoming the fear of intimacy. And I know for Sagittarians, from what I know of the Sagittarian energy, keep in mind this isn't like a universal thing. It's different for everybody, and this is just like a broad classification. But from what I've seen and from what I've experienced, Sagittarians are very, very playful energies. Sagittarians tend to want to just keep things fun and lighthearted. But it's like, I feel like not only with like Sagittarians, but in general, that kind of lack of wanting to be committed is often the result of a fear of intimacy. And that seems to be what's coming through. And so if somebody is coming through in your life and there's an opportunity to kind of maybe build something a bit deeper, these energies are ripe for that, especially given we're going to be out of the shadow period soon. Communication is going to be lightening up. The Virgo full moon just ended, so those energies are kind of tapering off. And so the energies right now, they seem to be lightening up a bit to how they've been at the beginning of the year. But yeah, that's really all I got for you, Sagittarius. If you'd like to book a personal reading, please send me an email to jzargoshepard@gmail.com. That said, I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you in the next reading or in any of the other signs you decide to watch. Okay. I'm taking a sip. I'm taking note to actually drink my beverages while I'm doing the readings now. Because I don't know if you can tell in some of the readings where you can just tell my voice is going out. And so it's been this process of me trying to do vocal exercises and changing the way I speak when I do the readings to preserve my vocal cords so I don't damage them. So if that bothers you, I apologize. I'm working on it, but I'm doing my best. So I'll probably be taking more sips of beverages to keep my throat not to dry. Anyways, hello Capricorn. I hope you're doing well. Keep in mind that this reading can apply to any aspect, any placement that you have in your chart. It's not just going to be the sun, moon, rising, and Venus like I know a lot of readers do. It's going to be any Capricorn placement that you have. If you're a cross watcher, I do not judge you. But keep in mind that you will have a Capricorn placement in one of your houses. Not a placement, but if you don't have a placement, you will have Capricorn in a house. So that said, I do implore you to have your chart open while we do this reading. Keep in mind, time and energy are fluid. These messages can apply to you, another person, or vice versa. So if it doesn't fit, don't force it. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. So what do we have for you? We have Temperance, we have Seven of Cups, we have the Hermit reverse, and then we have the Princess of Swords as the overall energy. Temperance is in reverse, by the way. I know sometimes I forget to say that it's in reverse, but it is in reverse. And so the Seven of Cups is an interesting card to me. I don't know why. It's one of those cards that I feel like it shifts meaning for me so much, because for a while, I personally just had such a hard time defining the card. While there are its own definitions, incorporating it into specific readings, it's been interesting. And so that's why I'm always quite interested to see when it comes out, because I see we have the Temperance reverse and the Hermit reverse. And so it's almost as if there needs to be there's a fine line between isolation for the sake of healing and isolation out of comfort and overworking and fear of really being vulnerable is what's coming out. Seven of Cups can represent a kind of playful energy, from what I understand, especially in the context of this reading. And so I think what these cards are coming to you today to ask you, or to just suggest to you, keep in mind this isn't no definitive you should and shouldn't do this. Whenever I say you should do this, you should learn this, that, and the third. It's just, what's coming through from Spirit, and you should interpret them as it resonates to you. But it's as if the reason you may be feeling in this state of not necessarily unbalanced, but there's a sense of needing to let things fall where they may without you putting in too much effort. You know what I mean? It's this kind of idea where you don't have to work so hard to reap the benefits that life has to offer, especially in terms of love. You shouldn't have to sacrifice yourself, but at the same time, you should still put in some kind of effort. With the Princess of Swords, to me, as the overall energy, this can represent an idea in which you may be feeling there's a mental immaturity is kind of the words that are coming through for me. And so if we're looking at this in terms of how you're looking at love, given swords are of the mind, swords are a masculine energy, and so there may be a lot of internalized just internalized misogyny is what I'm hearing. That can be something that we take on just from living in a patriarchal dominated society. There's a lot of toxic masculinity that is being thrown around. I know that is kind of like a term that is used often, but if it's in the context of love, essentially what I'm getting with that is like the way we have been raised to view love and to interact in love isn't always very healthy. You know what I mean? Especially if you're like applying very strict gender roles, which keep, like, I understand like some gender roles are very important to particular cultures, but depending on which culture you come from, it's going to mean something different. And so that's why I try not to speak too much on gender roles, given I know it is something that is cherished by other cultures. Some cultures yes, some cultures no. It's not my place to really speak on it, but I will say that there are a lot of toxic masculine behaviors that are perpetuated within those particular gender-conforming roles within Western society. I think that's a better way of looking at it in the context of this reading, at least like from speaking just from my personal experience. But let's get a little bit of clarification. Let's see what's going on here. So I'm really being told, like Spirit's just telling me, like overcoming the toxic masculine behaviors within yourself. Keep in mind, like this isn't gender specific at all. And so it's like while there's the need to heal the divine feminine aspects, there's also the need to heal the masculine aspects as well. So let's see here. We have Ten of Cups, reverse, clarifying Temperance. We have the High Priestess, reverse, clarifying Seven of Cups. Knight of Pentacles, clarifying the Hermit, reverse. And Knight of Cups, clarifying Princess of Swords. So, when I see the High Priestess come out in a reading, specifically with the Ten of Cups reverse, or the Ten of Cups in general, this usually represents that the veil has been lifted. This is an opportunity to recognize the fact that you are seeing things clearly. You are maybe seeing yourself in a way that you haven't before, but it's kind of a confirmation that like you're seeing well. Like you're not clouded. Your vision's not clouded. It's like this energy of where, this Hermit reverse is telling me that like you that isolation, yes, it was necessary, but to not dwell on that too much, right? Because we have the Nine of Pentacles right under that. And so it's like you're kind of needing to find the balance between how long should you stay in isolation and realize whether you're doing that out of comfort. And if you are doing that out of comfort, make sure to take the steps necessary to balance that out. So essentially get out a little bit more, whatever that means to you, do whatever feels comfortable to you, but just make sure to push yourself a little bit, push yourself to grow. Don't be afraid to leave your comfort zone, but also recognize like you don't have to push yourself too far. You know what's right for yourself. So we're going to get a closing message here for you, Capricorn. The animal messages, we do have the bat. So the bat says you have the power to transcend failure and move into a limitless future. So to me, this is like the manifestation card, right? The bat represents needing to trust in the divine, needing to trust in yourself. If you know anything about bats, you know that they use echolocation, I think it is. And so their vision isn't well enough for them to be able to fly and see, so they make little chirps and then they navigate based on the sound waves bouncing back at them. And so flying blind, right, is kind of the themes that are coming through with this card. And there may be a sense of needing to move forward without really fully knowing what's going to happen, because you can never really truly know because there's a multitude of possibilities. So as a closing message from Spirit to you, trust in the divine, trust that if you do take that step out of your comfort zone, you're going to be met with grace by the universe. And that's really just a confirmation for that. But overall, it's a beautiful energy. It's really like coming out of your shell, coming out of the cocoon. You've been inside long enough. It's time to take a step out of the cave, the proverbial cave, and start exploring things as you see fit. All right, but that's all I have for you, Capricorn. I love you so much. If you'd like to book a personal reading, please do send me an email to jzargoshepard@gmail.com. That said, I'm gonna go here to Hello, Aquarius. I hope you're doing well. Keep in mind that this reading can apply to any aspect of your charts, any Aquarian placement that you have in your charts. If you are a cross-watcher, I do not judge you, but keep in mind that while you may not have an Aquarian placement, okay, this is not working out here, hold on. But while you may have an Aquarian placement, while you may not have an Aquarian placement, you will have Aquarius in one of your houses. So that said, I do implore you to have your chart open while we do this reading. Keep in mind time and energy are fluid. While this message can apply to you or another person or vice versa, don't force it if it doesn't fit. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. With that said, let's see what we have in store for you in love from March 13th to the 15th, 2020. We have 7 of Pentacles, 2 of Cups, and the Sun. Already beautiful energy, but we have the full reverse at the bottom of the deck. So if we're looking at the Sun and the 2 of Cups can represent inner union, balance of divine feminine and masculine energies, but it can also represent relationships and love, especially with the Sun in the spread. But the fact that we have the full reverse as the overall energy is telling me that while there may be the possibility of new love coming to fruition, there is a sense of needing to kind of be patient and wait it out, and maybe don't be so like quick to jump into something. Like, it's this energy of needing to kind of assess a situation before diving head first, you know what I mean? Maybe kind of like dip your toes in the water and get to know the person a little bit more. Let's see if we can get a little bit of clarification on this though. Okay, so we have clarifying the 7 of Pentacles, we have the Queen of Swords reverse. Clarifying the 2 of Cups, we have the Moon reverse. Clarifying the Sun, we have the 7 of Swords. Bottom of the deck, overall energy, Page of Cups reverse. So, Queen of Swords reverse and the Moon reverse. This is the energy that is telling me that you should be very careful of the words you use with other people, and like, I don't know, it's like you can't, I mean you can, it might not work out so well, but it's not advised to project your past onto maybe somebody new. I'm getting a couple stories. The first story I'm getting is somebody who may be in a relationship with somebody who may have been together with somebody for a while. There may be an overall feeling of trust issues. The 7 of Swords, to me, it can represent like sneaky energy, somebody being sneaky, but to me, if you're looking at it in the internal world, it feels like the trust issues card to me. This is what it comes through as. And so since we have the Moon reversed and the Queen of Swords reverse, there's a sense of needing to overcome the trust issues. I don't know what sign this came out for in one of the other weekend love readings we did, but this was like a big lesson that came out, was learning to overcome trust issues, especially with the Page of Cups in reverse. And so the Page of Cups in reverse is telling me that there's an apprehensiveness and there's a fear of moving forward with somebody because there's a lack of overall trust in maybe just humanity, given maybe your personal experiences with not only in romantic and love and relationships, but outside of that with friends and family. So there's this sense of needing to understand that there is good in the world. There are good people out there that aren't going to hurt you, and trusting that it's okay. It's like learning to trust is okay to do, even though it is scary. So let's see if we can get a closing message here for you. Because I know it can be scary to try to trust people sometimes, especially if you've been hurt. But we do have the red scroll. It says, gather your resources now, for they will sustain you through the coming change. So this is speaking to me of the need to really like develop your internal reserves, right? Especially if you're going into something new, or you're considering going into something new, or maybe you're just deciding altogether that you need a break from love, which is also indicated to me by the Fool reverse and the Page of Cups reverse. It's like the universe may be like, presenting you with opportunities with people, but there's still the energy of needing to, take this kind of hibernation period to still heal. We're in the tail end of Mercury Retrograde, ends on the 17th. And so it's like, this is a great time for that, especially given this is set for the weekend. I mean, you can apply it anytime, but given the energy of the weekend for you, Aquarius, it's a really good time to just take some time to yourself, kind of like understand the deeper interwoven nature of some of the trust issues that may be locked into like pain that you experienced as a child, right? So if you do like regression meditation, or you do like timeline healing, where you just kind of meditate and you ask your guides or the universe to lead you to aspects of your life that may have been blocked out, that need healing. And so it's bringing the subconscious into the conscious, and this kind of idea of sending yourself love in that time in which you needed it. And it may be a time from when you were a lot younger that you didn't recognize was impacting your ability to want to move forward in love. So that said, that's all I have for you, Aquarius. It sounds like right now is a good time for you to just heal. You know, you don't have to move forward with somebody if you don't want to. If you're not ready for something, you don't have to do it. But that said, I love you so much. If you'd like a book of personal reading, please send me an email to jzargoshepard@gmail.com. We are going to go on to another sign after I take a sip. Sorry if it sounds like ASMR. I know my microphone is very sensitive. Okay. Hello, Pisces. I hope you're doing well. Keep in mind that these messages can apply to any aspect of your chart, any placement you have as a placement. If you are a crosswalker, I do not judge you, but keep in mind, even though you do not have a Piscean placement, you will have Pisces in a house. That said, keep in mind time and energy are fluid. These messages can apply to you, another person, or vice versa. So if it doesn't fit, don't force it. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Let's see what Spirit has in store for Pisces for the weekend of March 13th to the 15th in love. We have the Seven of Pentacles reverse. We have the Ace of Pentacles. We have the Six of Wands reverse. And then we have Justice reverse. So, Justice reverse is the overall energy is telling me that right now is not a time to try to invoke karmic retribution for other people. But this is also telling me that, like, I don't know, it's really almost kind of a contradictory energy, right? Because we have the Ace of Pentacles, but then we have the Seven of Pentacles reverse and the Six of Wands reverse. And this to me represents, like, the universe is presenting you with a new opportunity to, it's like approaching love from a different way and not doing things the same way. Because, like, doing them the same way you were doing them is going to lead to, you know, more karmic situations, which I think is more apt of the energy coming through with this Justice reverse. But we're going to clarify a little bit more. So, let's see if we can clarify these here. Because it's really interesting energy. It's not like, it's like a restructuring of what you think relationships to be, is what I'm hearing. But we have the Ace of Pentacles reversed, and that's clarifying the Seven of Pentacles reversed. And we have the Sun, which is a nice, beautiful card to have, not just a nice card. Ten of Wands reversed, and then bottom of the deck, Ten of Swords. Alright. So, the fact that we do have Ace of Pentacles reversed, clarifying the Seven of Pentacles reverse, it's kind of a, it's like I'm seeing like two different situations, right? I'm seeing two different paths for you right now. And Justice, I mean, if you look at it from a dualistic perspective, it can represent two sides of the same coin, two different paths. But it's as if the universe is asking you, do you want to continue down the same path that you were going, whether this is in a current connection or somebody new, or just with your own perspective of how you want to move forward in a relationship? You're being presented with the opportunity to heed the messages of the universe, take into consideration everything you've learned, and learn to approach relationships from a more playful perspective. And that is something that tends to come through quite often, especially if we have been through things that have been less than satisfactory and things that may have hurt us quite a bit. There's a need to renew that inner sense of fun and playfulness and overall, like, just beautiful approach to life, given the circumstances, right? Because we have the Six of Wands, we have the Ten of Wands reverse. I'm mostly honestly drawn to this Ten of Wands reverse and the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords, I think, is a great energy to have, especially as the overall energy, because it's telling me that you're coming to the end of some burdensome, arduous mental cycles that may have been plaguing you when it comes to love. It may have been stopping you from really taking chances on this Ace of Pentacles Sun energy that's coming through, whether or not that's a new person, whether or not that's your approach. But it's really good energy to have, because it's like you finally are learning a lot of the lessons that have kept you in this Ace of Pentacles reverse energy. That if you're understanding what it is that may have been holding you back from moving forward, not only within love, but within all aspects of your life. But since we have the Ten of Wands reverse, right? The Ten of Wands reverse can represent still needing to overcome some of the last little bits that we're clearing out within our healing and within our trauma, right? So it's like the Ten of Swords is like, hey, like you're coming to the end, but the Ten of Wands in reverse is like, okay, there's still a little bit left to go, but there's new horizon, there's new beautiful beginnings on the horizon. Like, hold your faith, trust the universe, but overall, trust yourself, honestly. Like, I'm all about trusting the universe, but I think at the end of the day, trusting yourself and knowing yourself well enough can go a long way, because you're not placing all of your faith and trust outwards. You're trusting yourself enough to know that you can and will make the right decisions when the time is necessary. And that's why a lot of this healing energy is happening. So you can get to a place where you know whether you should or shouldn't move forward with something based not only on your past experiences, but your strength of intuitive abilities. So we have the Tortoise, which says, when changes are made for the sake of change itself, resist. Tortoise has come out a few times. I think it came out during one of the other signs for this weekend. The Tortoise, to me, it essentially represents being okay with the fact that things are moving slow, but it's also a confirmation that it's okay to move slow. You know, you can like don't feel bad if you have to kind of like take on that Cancerian energy of kind of like going into your shell, getting to like crab mode, where like you're just very protective of yourself, but for good reason, right? You're very protective of yourself because you may have been hurt. You're very slow to move forward with somebody because you are being cautious, and there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, I think it's perfectly okay to be cautious about how we move forward, not only within love, but within all aspects of our life, because if we move too quickly and we don't think things through and we move off of impulse and we get very caught in our own delusions, we tend to put ourselves in situations that will lead to a lot of disappointment and heartbreak. So this is really just a beautiful reading, and it's a confirmation that you're coming to the end of some of those arduous cycles, and that it's okay that you're taking things slow. The universe is just like kind of like applauding you. It's as if we're looking at your past, we're seeing what the future kind of has in store for you. Even though I don't tend to do future readings, it's just the energies are presenting themselves in a way that is saying there are new things, new beautiful things coming your way because you've been doing the inner work. So that said, that's all I have for you. I love you so much, Pisces. If you would like to book a personal reading, please send me an email to jzargoshepard@gmail.com. But that does conclude part 3 of the weekend love reading from March 13th to 15th. I love you all so much. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you in the next reading.